I'm Alan Berube. I'm a senior fellow and the deputy director for the Metropolitan Policy Program at Brookings. So the Department of Homeland Security recently published some new guidance that essentially implements executive orders published by the Trump administration in late January around immigration. And there are a lot of provisions, but I think the most important ones serve to greatly broaden the kinds of unauthorized immigrants in the United States who are priorities for deportation. So under the Obama administration, DHS focused its agency's enforcement resources on unauthorized immigrants who had been convicted of serious crimes. Ultimately, the Obama administration deported upwards of 2 million unauthorized immigrants over his time in office, more than any other president. The new guidance from DHS essentially scraps the Obama administration's approach in favor of greatly broadening the kinds of immigrants who are eligible for deportation up to really the estimated 11 million total unauthorized immigrants in the United States today. This is essentially President Trump making good on his campaign promise to really crack down on illegal immigration in the United States. And he really accuses illegal immigrants of contributing to increased crime, although the research and the evidence suggests that both illegal immigration and crime have been trending down in the United States for some time now, and that unauthorized immigrants are actually less likely than native-born Americans to engage in criminal activity. So I study cities at Brookings, and I think this is a really important measure for cities for 3 reasons. The first is that cities are where most unauthorized immigrants in the United States today live. The Pew Research Center did some work that estimates that more than 60% of unauthorized immigrants in the United States live in just 20 metropolitan areas. The big cities in those metropolitan areas, New York, more than 500,000, Los Angeles, almost 400,000, Houston and Dallas have very, very large numbers too. Of course, this is where most legal immigrants in the United States also live. The second reason is that unauthorized immigrants are, by virtue of those numbers, very important contributors to city economies. Between 20 and 30% of all house cleaners, construction workers, dishwashers, groundskeepers nationwide are unauthorized immigrants, and those percentages are likely much higher in big cities. And the third reason is that the new measures essentially rely on cities to help step up enforcement and deportation. One way that DHS intends to do that is by expanding a program known as 287G, which essentially trains and deputizes local law enforcement officials to serve as federal immigration agents. So I think we're likely to see cities respond in different ways to these new DHS measures. Some have already come out and said that they're not going to cooperate with federal immigration officials. They have publicly labeled themselves as sanctuary cities for immigrants, and the Trump administration has threatened to withhold federal funding from those cities if they continue to refuse to cooperate with immigration enforcement. Other cities, however, might see cooperation with the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Service as a path of less resistance. DHS has announced that it's going to hire 10,000 new immigration enforcement agents over the coming years. Those agents are going to conduct raids and sweeps in big cities around the country, and it could be that some cities and their local law enforcement agencies see cooperation as a way to temper what might be the worst effects of those sweeps and raids in their cities. Ultimately, what I think might be most concerning is what's going on in immigrant communities in cities where folks who might have been hoping for a path to legal residency and been working or studying, living in the United States for many, many years, are now going to be afraid to come out. They're going to go back into the shadows, go back underground, I think to the long-term detriment of the cities and the communities in which they live.